What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the Human League, and we're returning to the 1984 album Hysteria. Thank you again to Mr. Solo. And the next track in the playlist is So Hurt. So, in this phrasing, it sounds like so is an exaggerator or a modifier indicating degree. It's not just hurt, it's so hurt. It's hurt of a considerable degree. So yeah, it sounds like there's pain involved. It sounds like there's a perspective that there is something to be sad or depressed about, and maybe there's an implication that there was an event or process which has left someone or maybe multiple people in that state. But obviously without more of a title, it's hard to get a sense for what that might be or whether there's any irony or nuance to the phrasing. So I'll just see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is the Human League. The track is So Hurt, and it's from their 1984 album, Hysteria.
It's hard, I know, to understand. Nothing lasts forever. The things you used to say and do, the places you would go to meet when you were together. You set your face against the tide, the harsh words that were spoken. But after all the anger, the shouting and the tears, you found your heart was broken. Fight the tears, fight the fever, don't give in. So deceiver, so hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. So hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. Just like the clock went back 10 years to make a new beginning, to work out how to live your life, to take the board and play the game and recognize you're winning. Your memories mean nothing now, you're just a little older. Moving forward with the crowd, silent tears but laughing loud, not wiser but just bolder. Fight the tears, fight the fever, fight the hurt. Don't give up. So hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. So hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. So hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. So hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. So hard with the pain you can hide. So lost and lonely inside. So hurt when the feeling is died. So hard with the pain you can hide.
I like that one a lot, and I have to say, even without Oakey's characteristic vocals, if you played me an instrumental of that track, I'd like to think by this point I'd be able to correctly identify it as a Human League tune. So, okay, number one, the Sonics. I enjoy the groovy bass, that stood out immediately. I enjoy some of the different synth lines. There's that one that almost sounds like a synth brass, like at the top of the track, which we hear flourish in the chorus. But then there's that lower, more straightaway keyboard one that was kind of keeping rhythm with the beat, and that one caught my ear too. Then in that interlude section in the back half of the track, there was that really gritty, almost electric drone type of layer, and I was surprised by and enjoyed that. And then Oakey's vocals, I very much enjoy the extension flourishes of the chorus, the hide and inside, and I like forgetting what the next line was, but I enjoyed the way his vocal melody would do those mini extensions and flourishes as the chorus played out. That was very enjoyable. And ultimately, lyrically, it's interesting because it sounds like it's both realist and optimistic in an emotional context at the same time. So, yeah, he's talking about the end of relationships and how they often are characterized by arguments and shouting and tears and frustration and anger. But once you've gone through that, and once, on some level, memories don't mean what they used to, there's still hope to be had. There's still a forward-looking perspective that you can adopt. And he's saying, you're not completely broken, even if you realize at the end of those shouting matches and those tears of frustration and depression, or at least hurt, that you are brokenhearted. You're not broken entirely, you're just a little bit older, and this is what happens to humans. This is what we go through, and you've now learned from that experience, and even if that doesn't mean you won't be brokenhearted again, or you won't be crying again, or you won't be shouting in frustration again, you have a sense for what it is to be in relationships, what it is to be in love, and what it means to go through these processes that everyone seemingly in the crowd does, and you can still sing and dance as you go forward. So yeah, it feels like a realist track in that it's saying, hey, like, this is what it means to get older. You go through these things, and what was great at the beginning might not be by the end, and you might have to go through these emotional wars, and at the end you might just be completely depleted, exhausted, and brokenhearted. But that doesn't mean life just ends right there. You go on, you persist. And so there's a hope and an optimism emerging from that realist and painful perspective. So I really enjoyed it lyrically as well. So yeah, lyrically, sonically, and vocally, I thought that was a really compelling track. And again, one that just screams Human League to me as I now understand their sound. Which, again, I get it. There's a transition, a break from the very early, maybe heavier and grittier type of sounds from the first couple albums. But by this point, and even if maybe this album wasn't such a chart-topping and memorable record as was Dare, I still think this album is very much characteristically the post-split Human League sound. So, yes, a really cool one. I absolutely enjoyed that. Do let me know what you think. And Luca, the horizontal cat, and I shall see you next time. Peace.